Welcome to Physiology Friday. You're probably wondering why I've decided to do this, and the reason is A, so you don't forget that Michelle Worthington exists during the time of me not being able to inject anybody, but also just to let you know how important it is for you to choose the right practitioner. It's all very well just having needles put in your head, but actually you need to know that the person putting those needles in knows where they're putting them and why. So here I have Nick. She's actually in isolation with us at the moment. This is my stepmom, and I just want to highlight the difference. So you've got, obviously, everyone's face has got all these muscles in. As well as the muscles, we have to think about the arteries, the veins, the nerves, and also how the Botox is working. So it's really, really important that you choose somebody who knows what they're doing. So with regards to Botox, you have beginners who can just inject the forehead, the frown lines and the crow's feet. Then you have intermediate practitioners and advanced practitioners. So it's just important to know that when you go somewhere, you're going to get the treatment that you want by someone who's trained to do that treatment. So the reason that I've decided to start today with the frontalis and the corrugator muscles is because I often get asked, can I just have toxin in my forehead because I don't like this area here? And the answer is no, you can't. And the reason for that is this frontalis muscle here is what we call an elevator muscle, and the corrugators here and the procerus muscle here are depressor muscles. So if you stop the nerve activity to this area, it's going to cause you to have a really heavy head. You might end up having a line there, and you're just going to feel like you've got a really sort of nasty headache. So I'm just going to draw on you if that's all right, Nick. Just to try and explain what I'm talking about, because I've had people come to me before just with like a line here and that's because they've only had their frontalis muscle injected. So your frontalis is actually two separate muscles, and if you just raise your eyebrows for me, Nick, as you can see, they're going up. So that's what we call an elevator muscle, because it likes to raise things up, gives you a nice expression, makes you look happy. And then if you could just give me a frown for me, you can see that these muscles are depressor muscles because they're pointing downwards. Everything that they do, they're making you frown, they're putting pressure down here, make you look quite angry. That's a depressor muscle. So also, just round your eye here, your orbicularis oculi, that's also a depressor muscle at this point. And that is why it's so important not to only inject the forehead. Now, it always surprises me how many people actually come here because they want to change a practitioner. They feel like their Botox is being watered down. They feel like it's not working as well as it was before. So during the consultation process, I will always ask, do you know what brand of Botox you had? And it absolutely astonishes me the amount of people that don't know what they're having injected into them. So there's various different brands of toxin on the market, and I just want to emphasise it's a toxin. It's something that you are having put into you to stop the nerves from working that muscle. And the reason that it's so important that if you are changing practitioner, for you to find out the brand is because different types of brands work on different SNAP proteins. So for example, the Allergan brand, which I tend to use more of than anything else, mainly because that's where I was trained in at cosmetic courses, so that's always my safety go-to brand. The Allergan brand works on what we call a SNAP 25 protein to pull the nerve back. and the Agilor brand works on what we call a SNAP4 protein. So if you think of your toxin as a drug, it works very similar to an antibiotic. So if you have the same antibiotic over and over and over again, you're not going to get the same result of antibodies from that antibiotic. So your practitioner might have just used Allergan for years, and that's why you're feeling like they're watering it down and it's not working so well. Actually, you just need to throw another brand into the mix to work on another SNAP protein, and then you'll get a really nice result. So what I'm doing now while we're in lockdown is every Friday I'm going to just discuss a different area of the face, why it works and why we inject the way that we do. So next Friday I'm actually going to talk about the orbicularis oculi, which is where we inject to help prevent crow's feet. So if you just want to turn around, Nick, and give us a big smile. So we inject into this muscle around oculi. Now, complications that I've had from that are where people come and they feel like they've got a hamster cheek where it's been injected too medially, or they feel like they've had a slight stroke and they can't talk properly at the side of their mouth, and that's because it's a complication when you've injected into the zygomatic major muscle. So obviously enough about the orbicularis oculi, we'll talk about that next week, but I just want you to try and have an understanding of why you only inject this whole area frozen. So you depress a muscle, thank you Nick, depress a muscle, depressor. So if you're actually putting a levels when you're injecting, and also this frontalis muscle does actually just come slightly over at the front here of the corrugator. So if you don't inject deep enough into that muscle, that's where you get people saying that they've had maybe a lid drop and they feel, it feels a bit funny and heavy there. Also, just so that knows what they're talking about, if someone comes in and they just say, oh, I want a brow lift, that's fine. Actually, the best way to get a brow lift is not to even touch the frontalis muscle at all. It's just to inject here, here and here, which will automatically freeze there and give a nice lift on the eyes. So it's about knowing how the muscles work. So while we're in lockdown, consultations via Facebook, WhatsApp, or if you just want to phone and have a chat, if you feel that you're currently being let down by your practitioner, and obviously you're unable to have a face-to-face review at the moment and you'd like a second opinion on any complications or issues that you've been facing with your Botox, then obviously my details are on the page and I will be more than happy to do a free 30-minute consultation just to put any fears to the back of your mind during this time. And just to add, the one thing that I will say is if you are worrying about Botox and feeling that you've been injected maybe incorrectly, or you're worried about your practitioner, it does wear off. That's the beauty of Botox, it's not a permanent fixture. So if you feel like you do have a lid drop sooner than the Botox that you've had elsewhere, it takes about 6 weeks for the lid to start working properly. So there's always that feeling, that you can take away. If clarity doesn't last forever, and if you are feeling a bit down and depressed because you've had some Botox that hasn't worked very well, at least you're in lockdown. Every cloud has a silver lining, and no one's going to see that you're feeling slightly more asymmetrical than you would like. And on the lockdown front, you've got an absolute bonus today, because look, I'm even dressed. I've done my hair and everything for you for this live video. Hear from you soon. WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, however you want to get in touch, please do. Thank you very much, and thank you for being my model today, Nick. Bye.